TV.
What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV, aka Darth Apocalypse. Alright, so before I get into this video, shout out to the brother Eric Levin for the donation to the channel via the Cash App. Much respect to him for showing love once again. So Charles Barkley pissed a lot of people off recently with his opinion on LeBron James debt stacking, his constant debt stacking. Contrary to what people want to say out here, you know, when Jaylen Brown was acquired in that trade that sent Paul George to Boston, we were all perplexed about that trade, because why would you trade an aging star for a MVP caliber player in his prime? Now, when I say trade for, I'm talking about the Boston Celtics. Didn't really make much sense, right? So people use analytics to try to justify it. We all knew that was bullshit. There was a Fadeaway World article that came out earlier this month that referred to that Philadelphia 76ers team as a potential super team. So there already was a precedent set as far as to the expectations for this team. Now LeBron James joins this team, and of course people are using the term super team. He's done this before. He's colluded with other players who are stars to form these super teams. He did it in Miami. He tried to do it in Cleveland, but underachieved. He had a whole media conspire to get him Anthony Davis. The commissioner helped him get Luka Doncic. And look what he does in Philly, after shaming ring culture earlier this year. You can't make this shit up, man. So Charles Barkley, of course, recently said that, look, man, you know, LeBron's a great player and everything, but man, this is another example of him stacking the deck, right? You had people get in a tizzy about his opinion, whatever, real sensitive. I saw what Shaq said. I might do a video on that. But here you got this grifter making an ill-fated attempt to try to make Charles Barkley look like a hypocrite. And, you know, it's just a bunch of bullshit, man.
For older guys like myself, has always been, yo man, you always stacking your team. He stacked it in Miami. He stacked it in Cleveland. He stacked it in LA. Now he's stacking it in Philly. So that, to me, I'm going to still have the same criticism I've always had. He's always stacked his team. And people can say...
All I heard was, I'm going to be a hater forever. That's all I heard, E. When it comes to Charles Barkley, let's be clear before I start. He's a legend. He's a legend. Top 5, top 6, power forward. I ain't thinking too deeply into my power forward list, but correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. You hear me? Now, when it comes to Charles Barkley, has he ever not played with a stacked team, E? Like, when he got drafted to the Sixers, it was a stacked team, E. Played with Julius Erving. Julius Erving has 20 points. Played with Moses Malone. He's a legend. 24 points, 13 rebounds. One of the first guys to come out of high school and be an MVP of the league. Maurice Cheeks, another legend, 13 points. Just couldn't get it done. First year he played in the NBA, 54. He won 54 games. He had a few 50-point game seasons with the Sixers. Of course, you know, the big dogs had to retire, so the wins started to go down. I believe the last season he was with the Sixers, I believe they won 30-something games. Then he goes to the Suns. That's where he wins the MVP. But here's the thing about the Suns, right? The year before he goes to the Suns won 53 games. And they lost in the Western Conference semifinals to the Blazers. So You went to a Suns team, seemed pretty stacked. Seems pretty stacked to me. Then he didn't get it done there. He didn't get it done there, E. So guess what he did?
What you do?
Time to stack it up again. Time to play Legos. He goes to the Rockets. You know what the Rockets had before he got there, brother?
What they had?
He had Hakeem Olajuwon averaging 26 points. He had Clyde Drexler averaging 19 points.
Oh.
Big shot Robert Horry. You know he got 7 of them things.
Oh, okay.
He had 12. He averaged 12 points. Sam Cassell, 14 points. Mario Ellie, 13 points. Yeah, don't forget about Vernon Maxwell. Vernon Maxwell do a lot of coke. Start the game, 10 points.
Oh, my God. This is so pathetic. Look, yes, he was drafted to a stacked Philadelphia 76ers team. When it comes to Hall of Fame talent, I can't deny that. Julius Erving, Moses Malone, Maurice Cheeks. I believe Bobby Jones may have still been there, or he might have been traded by then. He's forgetting Andrew Toney, who would have been a Hall of Famer had it not been for the foot injuries. But he's leaving something out here. What he's leaving out is, by the time Charles Barkley was traded there, when he was drafted there, the 84-85 season, Julius Erving was declining as a player. Moses Malone was declining as a player to the point where, I believe it was early in the 86-87 season, Moses got traded because the organization thought that he was about done, although he would actually go on to have several more solid years of 20 and 10. He just wasn't the same guy that was putting up 27, 28, 29, 30, and 15, 17 rebounds. Maurice Cheeks was, a solid player, but he wasn't the same guy that he was late 70s, early, mid-80s. And Andrew Toney had to retire, as we all know, because of the foot injury. He was out of the league by 1988. So, by the time Barkley came of age by 87, those guys were gone. They were gone. And you're leaving something out that I knew you would. I knew you would do it. Because you guys cherry pick. That's what you do. Why aren't you talking about the 1989-90 season for Charles Barkley? You know, the year where he almost beat out Magic Johnson for MVP? Since you say he likes the deck stack, you left out that he won 53 games with a Philadelphia 76ers team that won the Atlantic Division. And they lost in the second round to the Chicago Bulls, right? But this is who Charles Barkley was playing with that year. And you tell me how many games LeBron James will win with his team. His teammates that year: Ron Anderson, Scott Brooks, Leonard Copeland, Corey Gaines, Johnny Dawkins, Mike Jaminski, Hershey Hawkins, Lewis Lloyd, Rick Mahorn, Kurt Neffius, Kenny Payne, Dexter Schaus, Derek Smith, the late Derek Smith, Bob Thornton, Jay Vincent. And somehow, Charles Barkley won 53 fucking games with this team. And y'all wonder why he wanted out of Philly? When you're playing with talent like that, how you expect to win a championship? It never said you don't have to play with... he never said that you don't have to have talent to win. What he's saying is, I just need some talent around me. Not superstars and Hall of Famers in every fucking position. Then you bring up the 91-92 Phoenix Suns, right? You said they won 50-something games before he got there, making them out to be like a super team. So this is a super team now? the 92 Suns, Steve Burt, Cedric Ceballos, he was good. Tom Chambers, very, very good. Jeff Hornacek, good. Kevin Johnson, Andrew Lane, Nigel Knight, Dan Marley, the late Jared Mustoff, Ed Neely, Tim Perry, Kurt Rambis, and Mark West. That's a super team? How's that a super team? And not only that, Barkley didn't sign on as a free agent. He was traded. Meaning that they traded Jeff Hornacek, and I forgot what else, other pieces, for Barkley. So Hornacek, who was a 20-point per game scorer, went to Philly. Then you name the 95, 96 Rockets. And you made them out to be like this is another super team he joined, right? But this is where you fucked up at. This is why it helps to be a historian. First of all, you named Vernon Maxwell. Vernon Maxwell was gone from the Houston Rockets by 95, 96. He wasn't there anymore. So you just named somebody that wasn't even on the team. Then you named Akeem Olajuwon. 95, 96 was probably the last year Olajuwon was actually Olajuwon. If you watched the games like we did, it wasn't just a grifter pretend to be a basketball fan. You would know by 96, 97, that was the start of the decline of Akeem Olajuwon. He started having issues with tendonitis. He started eventually having an issue with his respiratory system, which affected his stamina. The decline began in 96, just as Barkley got there with the trade. And so that's another thing. Unlike LeBron, who's joining a super team already fully established as a free agent, Barkley was traded there. With both teams rebuilding, by the way, because Big Shot Bob, as you put it, 7 championships, traded to Phoenix. So he wasn't on the team when Barkley got there. He got traded. Same thing with Sam I Am Cassell. Traded to Phoenix. Phoenix only won 41 games in 96. Largely because they lost Dan Marley. They lost some other pieces. Danny Ainge retired. I believe Danny Manning left the team by then. Kevin Johnson was about to retire. They only won 41 games. That Rockets team that you just bigged up got swept in the semis by the Seattle Supersonics. So they're not the defending champion. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to paint this narrative, but it's been shot down before. Barkley didn't play with a super team. When Barkley got there in 96, 97, he was still a great player, but he wasn't a superstar. Olajuwon was declining. Clyde Drexler was 1 year away from retirement. Now, see, had this been just 3 years earlier, then you have an argument for it being a super team. But this is Clyde Drexler after the injury. This is Barkley after back and knee issues himself. And Olajuwon with the injuries that I just mentioned. It's not the same team. They show flashes of themselves. So they got to a 23-2 start, but injuries and age ultimately led to them being a 57-25 team, and it only got to the conference finals when John Stockton, that team that y'all say was a pushover and be rec league ball today, beat this supposed super team in 6 with your hypocritical asses. The same Utah Jazz team y'all say is so sorry and wouldn't pose a threat today. That same Jazz team that swept the 98 Lakers with Shaq and Kobe and 2 other All-Stars, 4-0 in the conference finals, I believe it was. But cut it out, man. Barkley never played on a team that had multiple all-stars in their primes. He never did. LeBron James has played with almost 40 players in his career. Almost 40 that have made at least one all-star in their careers. Almost fucking 40. And it exceeds 40, going close to 45 if you talk about other honorariums, like Sixth Man of the Year. And he's still only 4-6 in the finals? How's that possible? Get out of here, man.
Raw, food, TVs.